All right, you're gonna have to give me a second because basically everything's on. I just gotta get the airbrush turned on and put together. So we'll go live here, but I'm gonna keep the mic off while I let the air compressor do stuff. I gotta keep in mind that I can record now. I just had to press a button and we'll start recording. I should probably pull up that folder so that I make sure we are actually recording when I click. That would be nice, that'd be nice. Super excited about this. B-roll while painting and hobbying will be a lot easier to capture. All right, so let me get that all cleaned up. I can turn the camera on, doesn't really matter. Yeah. Hopefully that is light. Tell me if the picture's dark. I feel like the monitor I'm working on is passively darker to try to focus on, it feels like it's bright enough on this screen. Okay, I think we're good. It's like slightly dark on this screen, but it looks perfect in this screen. All right, so I'm gonna finish getting this airbrush together and we're gonna go, I'll go over what we're gonna do and then we're gonna kick into it. It is from the recent Warbands one. I mean, as a model, it's always existed. The main thing the Warbands pack did was give you a new deck of cards that feels a little bit more up to date with how the current rules work. That's like the key thing with it. I actually spent a little time cleaning up this airbrush the other day. I actually took it apart a little and scratched out the inside of it to clear the little nozzle tube here. So I think it's gonna be all right today. I think it's gonna be good. Main thing is making sure this little back part is still clear. So I'll put a little bit of cleaning solution in and get this to, yeah, there we go. That feels good. Yeah, but we have, so the plan today, let me get this nut on. They have another airbrush at the store that I go to that's a tank feed. I see a lot of people who do this use this because it's an easier way to quickly swap between colors than having to have a ton of connectors that you just put on the bottom, because then you'll need all your color connectors, you'll need the cleaning connector, which I think is actually useful because if I have a cleaning solution connector, I can just drop the color connector, replace with the cleaning, spray through cleaning, pull it without wasting it all, and then just set it aside. I think that could be really cool. It also has a much better setup here because it has the adjustable sequence here rather than like here, which is weird. Yeah, that's what kind of drew me to this one. I've got them all. We've got the Briar Queen stuff, which we're gonna try to do them one at a time, I think. There's no reason to mass paint all of them, because the way I'm planning to do Mollogs is different than the Briars. It's gonna be a little different than the Gits, and it's gonna be a little different than the Skaven. So we kind of have like a series of things. I gotta order more cleaning solution too. I'm out of airbrush cleaner. This bottle I have is the last bit. And that's not good. Yeah. What up, Shammy? For the stream, yeah. Well, for the stream, I'm using my lapel mics that I usually use when I record battle reports because my main compressor condenser thingy is off to the side. You guys would not hear me from back here. So I decided to give you guys access to my lapel mic so I can actually move around and you shouldn't hear too different of a sound when I talk. I use the Iwata cleaner because the Iwata cleaner has the cleaning solution in it. It also has a little bit of lubricant in it, which I don't have just the straight up lubricant, which I should probably purchase here soon. But when I prep my airbrush, I put a little bit in the pot, and then I pull the pin back with the cleaner against that little gasket so that it puts the lubricant in that gasket, because that's a huge issue right now with this airbrush, is that gasket gets a little too tense. All right, you guys are gonna hear the vortex mixer go burr. I kind of want to pull it out so it doesn't keep flopping around on this side panel here. It might even be vibrate. Oh no, the camera's fine. That's nice. So the plan today, we're actually gonna zenithal this guy. We're gonna start with Stynylrez Res Gray. I actually really like Stynylrez Res Gray as a basic primer. We are going to be doing Zenithal top down on him afterwards with, where is it? This is the old one. I don't want to use the old one because it's kind of bad. Where are you? The bulk of what we're doing today is airbrush, I guess is going to be the key way to put this. We're going to try to do a lot of basic effects and flesh toning exclusively with airbrush so that we can get really far in how we paint this, to the point where when we get to the mushrooms on his back, I might have to frickin' use some of the tape that I have here to make sure only specific mushrooms get hit. That's what I'm leaning on right now, is this idea of like, oh dude, we got this. Kind of like, I think we can do some cool stuff to try to get him to look really neat. But yeah, so we're gonna do at the start, Stano Res Gray, and then we're gonna move into Zenithal Liquitex White. That'll give us our baseline of what I think we need. Could be good. And I should probably pull my little stream deck forward because I do want to basically hit the record button pretty much every single time we do stuff. These guys are for Underworlds. I am working on a video to show you guys this game because I actually really like it. So does everyone at our local group. For those of you who are like the idea of tabletop games, but don't want to put 2 to 3 hours into a single match, this takes about a half hour to play one round. It's great. It's a great little moment. It doesn't feel that bad when you lose or win. Like, it's once you play enough games, you realize how utterly random it is, but it still allows you to make really good plays. Like, there's still very manipulative moments that you can have in the game to be like, no, you don't get to do that thing. Like, it's kind of good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to mute the mic while we spray because the lapel mic is great. It is kind of a skirmish. It's a skirmish board game. You don't even need terrain for it. You'll have boards. It's closer to a card game than a skirmish game. I don't know if you've ever seen Duelist on PC. It's kind of like that. A little bit. Duelist has some other mechanics. But it involves cards. It involves teams. And there you go. It involves hexagon ranges, kind of like a Battletech on smaller scale. It's a small scale board. The board fits on my art table easily. And yeah, it's just great. You don't need a lot of space, don't need a lot of time. It's why I highly suggest this for people who want to get into it. I go into it in the video though because I highly suggest it, but it's also a little worrying because there's a lot of rumors going around that this is going to be taken away. Like, they're going to stop making stuff for it. I really hope they don't, because genuinely this is a really good jumping in point for smaller communities that don't want to spend a ton of money. Because if you want to play the game right now, I think it's 90 for the starter set. It's either 90 or 60. I think it's 90. That's 2 teams, everything you need, play. They're all push fit, so you don't have to like worry too much about putting them together. You don't even have to glue them if you don't want. These are glued because I'm not a psychopath. But all right, let's get into the airbrushing. Yeah, it only exists in the realm of fantasy. If you've looked into the news for upcoming stuff, what is it? Darktide is getting a board game that is very similar. Although I will say the models in the Darktide board game are literally just like models I think that maybe they have sitting around on shelves that they need to get rid of. So it doesn't really feel good, like model-wise. It looks like they're trying to give it a little bit of a system, kind of like Underworlds, but it feels more co-op than PvP. So I don't know. We'll have to see what that's like. But this is mostly AOS. It does right now interact with AOS. There are some teams that are going to be no longer usable in the new AOS rule set. Specifically, I think the Beast and the Chaos ones. And there was like a rumor that they're all getting taken away from that. It's weird. It's weird. The video will talk a little bit more about it. forgot how smooth gray goes on these guys. It looks so nice. I always feel like with Stynylrez and any primer, I feel like I've seen enough people talk about white primer to not be annoyed at my white primer. Because my white primer, sometimes I'll put it on. Oh, it's so smooth. So buttery smooth. It's just done, right? Like one layer, done. Set it aside, it'll dry, it's great. Other times, it friggin' contrast paints into the edges, and then the surfaces are still whatever the plastic color is. And it's like, why are you doing this to me, man? But nah, the gray. So butter smooth. Mmm, tasty. So yeah, from here, once this dries up for a little bit, Liquitex White from ink as a zenithal. The beauty of Liquitex inks in this format. There is a little bit of varnish in here because that's how it tries to create its permanence as an ink. Which also means if you apply contrast paint to it, it will kind of flow over the edges. Now, we're gonna be applying paint over top of it, so it will hopefully keep the pigment a little light at the peaks, but still also show through. But it clings very well, and it's already thinned. It's already thinned, ladies and gentlemen. This is already the exact consistency you need to run through an airbrush in order to feel like you're actually doing something properly. So this guy is just about dry. Make sure my airbrush tip is cleared of any gray, because sometimes the gray gets stuck. I have literally a $20 airbrush. I know all the people I've seen online who are like, yo, check out my $400 airbrush. I'd like one. That would be awesome. But this $20 airbrush, what's up, Arturo? This $20 airbrush has painted 4,000 points of Thousand Suns, 3,000 points of Knights, and 1,500 points of Demons, as well as 30 kill teams. Like, this thing has done work for $20, okay? I've used a high-end Iwata. My buddy got a high-end Iwata, and I tried it out. It does work really well. It is very smooth. The clogging, very limited. Like, we did some dumb stuff with that airbrush, and it just works. Like, it's great. Personally, I would probably aim for the Badger airbrush that exists. The guys that make this, I believe, also make an airbrush, and it is really good. And I kind of like how it looks. I kind of like how it works. So I wouldn't mind getting that one day. But for now, a $20 airbrush. Do not do speed paint or contrast in an airbrush. Speed paint and contrast, the medium that exists in it, what it does is it sort of dries too quickly. And what'll happen is as you're blowing it through, because the big issue with an airbrush is every time you push down, it's blowing extremely condensed air, right? So what you're always fighting when you airbrush is the drying of the paint here. Right here on the tip. You're fighting this drying at all times. It's super obnoxious. So what I have found, because I have tried running contrast through an airbrush, is that after like 20 seconds, enough of it is now dry on this tip that I have to open it, wipe it all off, close it again, and go back at it, and it keeps doing it. The main problem with contrast paint through an airbrush as well, and I can kind of show you this just by pulling, where is it? Zealot Yellow. Where are you? No, you're Ancient Honey. So Zealot Yellow is one of my favorite speed paint paints that exist, and for the yellow in the Army Painter line. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I probably put it back. No. The trick with Zealot Yellow is that on the highest end, it's yellow. On the lowest end, it's orange. Okay. It does not show you that on this bottle, right? It does not show you, hey, it'll be yellow here, hey, it'll be orange here. But if you apply this to surfaces, I think I have one. Yes. You can kind of see it here. Yeah, you gotta thin it, but like, I don't have to thin that. But here, see how that's orange at the bottom? It's like yellow to orange. That's just this, that's one coat of Zealot Yellow. So it goes yellow to orange. I have airbrushed Zealot Yellow onto things, hoping it would be yellow, but because the airbrush sort of applies layers evenly and it doesn't spread that often, it basically built all the way up to the orange for me when I did my Aldari a long time ago with it. I did the Corsairs team, and by the end of it, almost all my Corsairs were very orange. So I had to do this thing where I paced myself. I made sure that the initial hit was really quick and really pulled away near the middle area of them to make it yellow. And then I would give it like an extra second on the arms and legs to make it orange, which is a cool concept. But like, I don't know, this airbrush seems to hate contrast and speed paints going through it. Because it works for a little bit, but it also fills it a little too much, I think. I don't know. I prefer, if I'm gonna speed paint, I prefer the oddity that comes from applying speed paints with a really big brush. Like I've got big meaty brushes that I'll douse this in contrast and I'll just blah, 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 blah. And then if you quickly work back onto it by pushing that like coffee staining in different directions, you create a really nice underpainting that you can go over top of with layers and it'll look really good. But yeah, so these should be pretty much dry by now. Stynal Res actually dries very quickly. I love it. And we will zenithal with the white and we will go from there. I'll go over the plans with what I've come up with for that stuff. So give me a second. Woot. I overdid the white. I keep doing this where I put too much paint in when, you know, you can just add more as you go, so don't worry about it. But yeah. You can kind of see the gray underneath. The white, though, really pushes it, which is what I kind of aim for. And this is just ink. Ink takes a second to dry. You'll still see it's a little glossy, so it's going to be a minute. So let's talk about kind of where we want to go from here. So the little guys, I think we could probably get away with it maybe. I kind of want to start though with the big guy, and we're just going to work through a bunch of these colors. I picked up some extra colors while I was at the art store the other day, assuming we were going to do this at some point here. Let me actually clear the caps on these. So what I want to do with my ogre is we're going to make him flesh toned. For the most part, he's not going to be completely flesh toned. But I want to do, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the common way to paint pinups. Ooh, I might need to use those. I have a lot of high flow paints that I can use in these instances here. Where? There we are. So if you've ever seen how people do pinups, I kind of want to try it on the ogre a little bit. What's going to happen is we're going to base him in medium magenta. It is a little bit white, like it's closer to like a low saturation than high saturation. So we're going to base him in that. And then I think in his belly region, his underarms, and his face, like the center of his face, flesh tone. Titan Mars Pale, which is a really pale flesh tone. I think it's gonna look weird as hell. I like it. Now, I need to pick for his arms where we're gonna go, because he does need to be a bit ogreish. He does need to be a little bit scaly, a little bit kind of green feeling. The question is whether or not I have a green in high flow, or if we're gonna have to do Vallejo Air, which I'm starting to think we're gonna have to do Vallejo Air. Also, I don't know if we want to magenta the whole under part of him, because if we're gonna green his arms, like parts of his arms, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of blend a little bit here. So the magenta is gonna be definitely belly, probably like legs, feet, middle of the face. What's up, Rommel? Rommel. We might teal the arms and areas that we're gonna want green to like start it out. Oh no, we're gonna cobalt turquoise. Cobalt turquoise is so good of a color. But that still means I need a green. Like a mid-green to a dark green. Probably like a mid-green, it's probably best. No, that's gold. Is it gold? Wait a second. I think this is gold. I can never remember if this is actually gold or if it's just called green gold. Because that looks good as hell for like a green skin color. I don't think. Yeah, no. This is just a green pigment. There's no metallic flaking in it. Which blows my mind that they would call it green gold if there's not actually going to be gold flake in it. Ugh. So we're going to cobalt into green gold. We'll probably need a more opaque flat color to go over top, which we can either layer, or I wonder if I have an olive drab. Let's go check my airbrush box. Whoa. Hang on. Hold the phone. I gotta unplug the charger. Move it over there. All right, be right back. Well, I'll still talk to you guys while we walk. So we got the tournament coming up Saturday. That's gonna be pretty big. So the realism of it being like a serious tournament is starting though. Like, oh my God, it's starting. Because the Discord channel that I'm in with everyone is lighting up. The tournament organizer posted everyone's lists. So we'll know all the lists before we go. This could be a good green. No, I know that one's too dark. This is rough. Olive drip, I'm pretty sure goes too brown. What's this? Gunship green? Yeah, we'll try that. Like, all day, it's been back and forth about our first matchup. That's literally the whole thing right now. Our first matchup is us going over what we're about to go against, what we're comfortable with, what we think strategically. Like, I'm writing a dissertation on why I think I might be okay into Thousand Suns as knights. Because I know all the knights, or I know all the Thousand Sun shenanigans, so like, I would be the most versed in what's coming. I would know what I'm about to have happen to me. So I could easily counter it, change it, adjust it, do something about it. But yeah, it's been crazy. These guys are still a little wet. Once we get the flesh toning done on him, we're gonna have to make some decisions on the rest of his components. I feel like most of his on-body mushrooms are gonna have to be layer painted. This though, I think I can maybe have some fun with on its own. We would put like a piece of paper through it so I could paint down onto it without hitting him. This would end up being like yellows and browns maybe, which I do have a couple of. Maybe some oranges. I could see a bunch of stuff here. Because this is all barnacles, which is hilarious looking. It's barnacles and mushrooms. I love these models. They're so cool. They're so cool. Still a little sticky. I can probably get started though. Probably. Not too bad. It's not getting picked up at least. Oh, maybe there's a message in the group. Maybe there's info. Because this is a team-based game and we're using the thing where you do attackers, defenders, and all that. Oh my god, 10 messages. So our Blitzkriegi DA guy thinks he's gonna have the melee potential to bring down Rubiks, but all the Rubiks are flamers, so they want him to get close so that they can overwatch. I don't know. Oh my god, they're planning a Discord call so we can talk to each other about the matchups and what we should do. It's an interesting mode. I actually do like this team mode. For those who are unfamiliar, how do we do this? How do I show you this? So there's 4 of us. So kind of like this, right? Our 4 teams. And then there's 4 enemies, right? Yeah, let go. You're so spindly. And the way this tournament works is both teams choose and then simultaneously reveal an attacker, right? So both teams are like, hey, these are our attackers. Yeah. Then both teams choose and reveal defenders, right? So what happens is the 2 people who weren't picked are now paired. Now, each attacker picks one of the 2 defenders to be their target, to be who they're going to go into. The alternatives then get paired off. And that's how matchups work in current team tournaments. We're doing 4v4, so this is the size of it. In 8v8, which is the more international version that's going on right now, the fully funded, tons of stuff going around for it version, it's this times 2. So there's 2 attackers, then the 2 defender functions go through, and then the leftovers go up against each other. Because I think there's 1 leftover in that situation, right? It's two attackers each. So actually, I think is it even? My brain. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 4 on each. So there's 4 on that side, 2, 4. And then 5, 6. So there's 2 extra. I don't know how they do the 2 extra, right? There's 2 extra in that situation. Because it would be, and then 2 and 2. So 2, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 8 get chosen, and then you have 2 flex on the side. Maybe they do 3 attackers? No, they couldn't do 3 attackers. I can't remember. But in 4v4, this is the system. So we have to figure out who we want to put forward. And then we have to figure out if they put, you know, the Chaos Space Marine forward, who are we going to put into them? Leaving who here to deal with whoever they don't choose. This is how this like this round is probably like 60% how your team wins. This moment. So super excited about that. Problem is, we looked into it, and most of the people we're going to be fighting against, the word sweaty isn't powerful enough to let you know how this is going to play out. The team we're going against are the biggest meta chasers. Literally, whatever the strongest list is in tournaments at the time, their team lead will be using it. 100% he'll be using it. Then the rest of the players will try to fill roles that allow for certain things to occur. For instance, if they need more anti-tank, like if they want something to be on a flex to be like, oh, you're running a lot of armor, here's our anti-armor. They do that, but like top tier. And then they have like one person. There's actually a list against our first team that we're playing, 100 Chaos Cultists. It's so many Chaos Cultists. It's literally Abaddon, a couple demons for, you know, take all corners stuff, putting people around, capturing corners, things like that. And just so many cultists, and then 3 predators. The whole idea is that there's no way you kill that many cultists in 5 rounds or whatever. 4 rounds. 5 rounds? It's 5 rounds, right? 4 rounds is kill team. 3 rounds is underworlds. God, too many games in my brain right now. All right, let's get to it though. We got to start with the magenta, I think. We'll start with the magenta. We'll work from there. I think, let's pre-plan. Definitely belly. I think the only green part I really want is the back up under the mushrooms. maybe the butt, because it does look like there's a little bit of scaling on the butt and the side of the legs. So like the general like we'll try to do magenta on the inside of the legs maybe, and the feet. And then we'll do like the sides of the legs going up to about here as best as I can using the, I want to say we're going to do, so this is a problem. Cobalt might be a good way to base it, but I don't know if any of the paints that I have are going to be able to override Cobalt for its opacity. But I do think it's going to be useful. So we'll start with magenta though. I love Underworlds. I love Underworlds. We got a video hopefully coming out next week I'm working on to go over how Underworlds works and why I think it's a great system that I hope sticks around despite a lot of the rumors. But I love Underworlds. I love Rivals mode specifically. There's a lot of people I've talked to who wanted to play Underworlds for a long time. But there was a lot of FOMO in Underworlds because in order to play at the time, there was deck building and most of the major leagues were all about deck building. So in order for you to be competitive, and I talk about this in the video, it's cool talking about it now though, it's fine. Most of the people who talked about the meta said if you wanted to be competitive, you needed to buy every box, every team. They didn't sell the cards separately, really. You had to buy the starter boxes, the seasonal boxes. That's how you got the boards too, which were important. It's also how you got the specialty dice as well. But it's still like, it just became annoying because if you were really good in season 1 and you bought all the stuff in seasons 2, like new stuff came out for this, what, like every 3-4 months or something? Like it was ridiculous. And so everyone was just like, I have to keep buying, I have to keep buying. Some of the people at the tournament I went to had tackle boxes filled with tokens, filled with dice, just filled with things because they bought everything for Underworlds, all of it. Valrak hasn't said anything, but I've heard a few people talk about it, and it's like, eh. Yeah, but you don't anymore. That's the best part. Like, that's what I'm going to talk about. Like, if you want to start a league, play Rivals. Play Rivals. I bought the mirror. Like, you need a board. That's annoying. You're going to want to buy at least one set, and then go for whatever team you want. Yeah, but Valorak's leaning into, and I do like this about what he's doing. He's leaning into new models that are being released. Dude, on YouTube with all the stuff that pops up for me, it's 90% GW burning and we're all fully erect because of it. It's like, oh my God, please stop. It's people who drop a video a day that's 30 minutes long where it's like their head is in a tiny little box in the corner. And then they have a page open on friggin' Firefox that looks to an article on a very clickbaity website where they're just like, look at this. Everything's on fire. We're winning. It's like, what are you, what's happening? And they're getting views for it. They're getting so many views for it. And so they're going to keep doing it because that's how YouTube works. You go where the views are or else you fail. Like my channel is doing all right, but it struggles a little bit because I don't go for that. But yeah. I talk a little bit about how I don't go into it being something that goes away as much as they say it is, but like it's rumor territory from websites where you can post anonymously. And it's like, who knows? But yeah, Underworlds is great. We started a local Rivals League, and I played the tournament. I think I took like 2nd or 3rd. And that was my 2nd time playing the game. Like I clicked with my team. I play Ephelims. I love Ephelims. Ephelims is so cool. The flavor in this game is so good. Everyone that complains about flavor in the bigger games not being there, this has so much flavor in it. Ephelims, every single round, when you start the round, before anything goes, you inspire a creature, you tell one of your opponents to stagger one of your creatures. You then guard one of your creatures, depending on how many you have alive still, and then you tell your opponent to push one of your creatures. You get 2 negative effects guided by your opponents versus 2 positives. You get to choose. No one else in the game that I've seen does that. Like, they have so much weird flavor, and I love it. I love how just wild these characters are. Mollogs, like this alone. The fact that this unit here doesn't have to come in on a spawn point. Like, this comes in on a this doesn't have to come in on a spawn point. It's called just a rock. It can't hurt anyone. It can be killed, but it can't hurt anyone. It just chills. It's just a little guy. Don't touch him. He's a little guy. Yeah, I mean, they say kill team interest is dying, but like, I feel like kill team tournaments are still up. Are you talking about the night goblins, the knights, the knights? To my understanding, you're supposed to give them quests, right? That's how they do stuff. You have to, like, from a list of quests, tell them what to do, and if they do it, they get benefits. That's so cool. They're goblins, and they do knights quests. That's so fun. All right, just a forewarning, I do mute my mic a bunch because we are airbrushing, and this is a compressor, and I am currently on a lapel mic, so I don't want to just sit here while you guys are like, I can't hear anything. So hopefully the background music is loud enough. Dude, it sounds so cool. They sound so fun. Right now I have the Mirrored City guys. Some people say it because it's too slow. My buddy, like, when Nightmare was delayed a bit, he just started messaging me. He was like, yo, kill team's dead. I was like, what are you talking about? I literally just watched an LVO with 160 people. What are you talking about? And he was like, well, they delayed Nightmare. I'm like, all right. So apparently the information that was going around was they were having a ton of trouble with their warehouses properly sending things places and being able to manage stuff. Like, they were having so many issues that they needed to hyper focus on that. And then recently, we've been seeing better supply chain function with them. I was able to buy Mutilate Vortex Beast for the first time in a year, and they keep going back in stock. Like, they're actually kind of getting it together, and that's why Nightmare fell behind. Like, it's a whole thing, man. Like, I feel like interest is going to wane a little bit going forward until 3.0 gets announced. And then it's like, oh, 3.0. Because if they're like, oh, you can use all your old stuff still, it's just updated rules, I think people will be really happy. Yeah, YouTube interest will be, I think. That's why I'm trying to expand. I like doing hobby. I like doing 40K. I don't mind doing kill team. I want my channel to be an everything channel. Like, it's just me, so it's gonna be hard. But I want it to be an everything channel. All right, we're gonna get to airbrush. I have very limited time. Well, I have okay time today. Let's get to airbrushing. We'll start with the magenta. No, I'm a rebel. Mostly because I only hold the base, so I don't really worry about it. I just wash my hand eventually. It's also funny because I watch a lot of hobby tubers, and I watch their early stuff where they always wear gloves, and now in their more recent videos and streaming, they're just like, fuck it. Like they just do their hands too, which is great. Also, from friends interested in 40k in general, they want to start a kill team as an index team. It is High Fleet with 3 melee warriors, 1 Ryan proxies, and 8 Gaunts with flesh borers. It depends on what you play into. I know everyone points to the Gene Stealers as really good, but if you're playing something completely tuned, that might not do that well. Let me turn off the recording. I love warriors, but because they're not going to be really balancing, like you can always homebrew stuff a little bit, but because they're not going to be balancing them, the problem with warriors is even though their stats are through the roof and really good, they only have 2 APL, which means you're not doing a lot in a turn with them. So it depends on the mission. Some missions are okay because you don't have to spend action points on things, but playing warriors and Gaunts into situations where you have to spend an action point to capture points, open doors, or do things, it's actually really rough because that's not enough units. Like, it's not for that type of an army. But at the same time, it still depends on how you use them. I know a lot of people will point to balance of bespokes and stuff, being like, oh, bespokes will easily kill this. Yes and no. It always depends on situations. Rolling is always important, and what you play into it. Because, like, I know with warriors, you're saying all melee warriors. That literally means your whole purpose for your warriors is to run in. So they're just going to be going. It's a bit of a rough struggle. Because the thing is, Gaunts are a lot more powerful than people think. Like, Gaunts are way more powerful than people think. Yeah, no, I honestly think they should have given Warriors 3 APL. Because think about it, right? 6 Warriors is the same as an Elite team, and Elite teams all do 3 APL. So they're about as durable as a regular Space Marine. They're a little bit better in melee, and in my opinion, their guns aren't as consistent to a degree as some of the Space Marine and Chaos Space Marine weaponry. So, like, I feel like they're so closely balanced to being okay. Had they just been like, oh yeah, Warriors get 3 APL, that's fine. I would have made it so that Warriors get 3 APL and you cannot target them with the Synapse thing that gives them +1 APL. That's all I would have done. Because then if you went 6 Warriors, you could not give yourself a bonus APL. Oh, yeah. Wait, I told them not to do ads in the middle. Oh, no. Got an ad? Oh, no. I literally said only at the beginning. That's all I told it to do. Stupid YouTube. But yeah, hitting on 4s is rough. Honestly, it would have been perfectly balanced with APL 3. If you're only playing Bespoke, or if you're only playing Compendium into Compendium, they're not bad. They have a really strong faction passive. The inability to take debuffs from being injured is so good. And the trick is, if you read it, here's the problem, right? So there is a rule on some teams called super injury. So let's say Death Guard, which a lot of people are into. Death Guard have an aura that gives people the injury buff regardless of whether they're allowed to be injured or not. Here's the issue. The Tyrannid information for their faction buff for being in Synapse says, hey, we're injured. Oh, I see chat. That must be you, man. I still see chat. This is weird. But yeah, so the trick is that even though the Tyrannid faction rule says, or even though there's some things in the game that are like, hey, even if this says you can't be injured, you're treated as being injured. So the Tyrannid rule says, hey, that's fine. I can be treated as being injured. I'm completely cool with that. I will not be affected by the negatives, though, from being injured. I'll still be considered injured, but I cannot lose ballistic skill, weapon skill, or movement. And that seems really cool if that is exactly the way it's supposed to be used. Like, actually. 100% that would be a really cool function. All right, I'm gonna try to clean this. So I think bespoke into bespoke, it's definitely perfectly fine. If you're gonna play, or compendium into compendium, if you're gonna play in a more advanced way where maybe you pull out like a really good bespoke team and he wants to play the Tyranid team, highly suggest maybe thinking about telling him, hey, house rule. You get 3 APL on your warriors. Just house rule it. And it'll probably feel a lot better to play. Alternatively, and this is of course a big alternative, this is something I saw at a tournament once that you can do depending on your base sizes. Look up Gellerpox, realize that the Hulks all have the larger bases and that everything else is usually smaller bases. So you can make it so that the three mutants, the 3 little medium-sized mutants, maybe are 3 somethings from the NIDs. All the Hulks, just pick large models from the Tyranid army. Make them that. Like things on the decent-sized base. You could do like maybe Tyrant Guard or something. And then just make sure you know which ones are which. And then the bugs, you just pick Gaunts or something. Little things. Glitchlings, same thing. Maybe some swarm models. I don't know. Something. But yeah, like down the road, if he wants to still play like Tyranid on table, but wants to play with like crazier rules, yeah. You can look into Gellerpox and have him basically trade stuff in and out for Gellerpox, because that's what people have done in tournaments, which is really good. Gellerpox are weird in 40k, that's why. I don't know if they know where to put them, because I think the original Gellerpox basically mass-generated bugs, right? You'd have a core of Gellerpox, which were actually pretty good in combat, and then when things shoot into them, if you can't get through the insect swarm, it regenerates the insect swarm, which just makes things really hard. Well, that's the thing. Gellerpox were actually around longer than that. The Gellerpox were originally in Kill Team 1.0. They were around for a very long time. Also, for the Gaunts, the smaller scale guns can, I think, go to 8. It's the big guns that go to 4. Terms. Yeah. So, where are the Gaunts? Gaunts. Fighters, those genes. Termagants, each separately equipped with claws and one of the following: Devourer, Fleshbore, Spine Fist. Each Termagant operative with a Devourer counts as 2. So you can get 8, but if you all go Devourers, it goes down to 4. But you can always go Fleshbore or Spine Fist, because those, it's weird. I think we looked at them before. Spine Fists being range 6 at a 3+ is actually really nice if you want consistency. I think my buddy, the trick my buddy did though with his, where's that 3-inch lethal 5 mouth hook thing? Oh my god, that thing is crazy. Honestly, you should probably look into going the melee gaunts and then just giving them all like flesh hooks, or like as many of them flesh hooks as possible. Because you get these guys within 3 inches of an enemy, 2+ to hit, 4 attacks, lethal 5, it's bolt gun damage. That thing is crazy. Yeah, it's the 4 for the Devourer, 8 for Flesh Boar. Or Spine Fists. Spine Fists are cool. I like Spine Fists. I wouldn't run Spine Fists into anything that wasn't like guard level. Shammy's back. But yeah, Shammy, I won that TTS game. It was good to try out. You guys might hear the compressor here in a second. I want to see how loud it gets. It's not that bad. I mean, you definitely hear it. I mean, you're already going melee warriors, so it's a little bit on melee. Normally people like to go at least 1 gunner warrior and then maybe 2 melees. No, I'm on it right now. It's the long range, which I think is Devourer. Yeah, Devourer counts as 2. Flesh Boar and Spine Fist don't, because those are both 6-inch range guns. One hits like a bolt gun, but you can only hit on 4s. The other hits like a really, really weak weapon, but you hit on 3s. They're not the worst, in my opinion. My buddy uses his shooty gaunts against me, and he's had some success with it, but it is very specific. Yeah, I was thinking of finding a way. I don't think we do like a tourney, because if you've been paying attention to the Discord, which I think you have, you'll see that a lot of people are like, hey, who wants to do this game? And then like nothing. So like we still don't have enough people to be like, oh, let's just get games in. We have like a small group right now of people who kind of cross paths, which is cool. So if we ever did something with Kill Team early on, or anything really, it would end up being, hey, let's do sort of like a league where you kind of have a person you need to go against, and then you have time. You can try to make time to play a match or something. We'll just have to work it out. No, yeah, Death Guard are good. Death Guard are really good. And what's cool is Death Guard base size is the same exact base size as Legionary. So you can play, once you get the rules for them, with pretty much everything you have access to, you can proxy your Death Guard to be Legionary if you want. So you can do the Death Guard rules, keep it simple, and then one day go like, oh, let's try the Legionary rules. Because Nurgle Mark is actually pretty competitive on Legionary. So you can do that if you want. And now, because the Claw team, the new Night Lords team, same thing. All their bases are the same size. So you could technically proxy, weirdly, I don't know why, but you could still do it rules-wise, it would work, Death Guard as the latest Claws team, if you really wanted to. Like, you've got 3 teams, really, you do. You can just play whatever you want, it's great. But yeah, Death Guard, they're considered pretty top tier compendium. It's Death Guard, High Fleet, all Gene Stealers, frickin' what am I thinking of? Custodes, which that's not the name of it. Talons of the Emperor, two Custodes, and then a squad of, I want to say, Vigilators and Flamers. I think you want, so you get 5 Sisters, and I think you want a couple Vigilators and then like 1 or 2 Flamers. Well, we've got some of the stuff you'll need in the Discord if you want to try it. All the modules that I linked actually work really well. I don't know how much you caught of the game, but like apparently they just have really cool tokens. You can drop them on players to mark like who has what for upgrades and gear and stuff. Like it's actually really cool. It worked really well. All right, so we got to be light with this cobalt stuff, I think. Let me mute the mic. It is a little bit much, but like once you get the swing of it, it actually simplifies a lot of stuff, which is cool. I think based on what we're looking at here, I think we work on the scales first, like the scales and the bumps. So I think we're gonna lean into green gold next. I wanna see how this looks over top of the cobalt. We're gonna lightly apply it. We're gonna try to keep it a little bit zenithal so that we don't lose all the cobalt coloring. I think this might be okay. I'm not sure though. We're about to find out. All right, green gold was very liquidy, very transparent. It came out extremely fast. So the question is, do we go with a paler top color or do we try and see if gunship green actually kind of plays out? I think we try for the paler. I think we go straight for it. We're definitely going to want to put very little in here because we don't really want to done too much of it, right? Can always add a little bit more. We can always do peak highlights with layering paint and all that stuff. It'd be good. I think we go straight to flesh tone at this point. And maybe we can figure out how to do the mushrooms. That is something on my mind. I have heard of Mordheim, but I haven't looked into it. I've heard people talking about it as the place that Warcry will be going. I guess that's one of the rumor mill rumors from someone on the internet. You know, the usual. What up, Slow? Yeah, I have heard of Mordheim. To my understanding, there's a pretty big crowd of people that really like Mordheim. Could be cool. I think, what was it? It was Cursed City. Like even my local area Discord has had. And I'm gonna just keep cleaning this brush while talking. You guys are gonna hear stuff. Even my local Discord has been talking a lot about all of this information that's been coming out, because I think they were like, hey, someone brought up Cursed City. Someone was like, oh, they stopped doing Cursed Cities. But then someone on the Discord was like, what are you talking about? And dropped all of this information showing off all of the new Cursed City things. And everyone was like, whoa, I didn't even know about this. And yeah, like, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny to see them figure that out. But dude, Underworld's kits are just good universally. They're so cool. I love how they look. Like, I have some finished painting ones. Let me pull them out for you. Yeah. I mean, come on. These look so good. They're so cool because you get so much diversity in like single boxes of things. You can get so much diversity. Which I love. All right, so yeah, we're gonna go into flesh toning. I think, okay, so there's definitely an issue with this format, right? You always need some people to want to buy new things. How do you do that? You provide new stuff that they have to buy. Here's the weird part. Since all of the bases are very universal, like even though these bases are all like one-off bases, they're still universal. This is still a base that can be used across multiple titles, multiple games. So as long as the model's about this size, like you could probably use this as a grot if you wanted to. Like, there is adaptability as long as you're not worried about the models being what you need them to be, right? Like you can kind of tinker and be like, oh, well, behold my new demon prince of Nurgle. Like, there is variability. There is this notion of like, oh, you can kind of make what you want and have it be what you want, even though they get rid of stuff. Like I know all the stuff they announced for Stormcast leaving, I feel like most of them will probably work for the stuff that's coming in or the stuff that's left over. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it is sad 100%. But at the same time, like I have squads here that I could use as like demons if I needed to. Like it's just it's crazy to me. Like I use Kyric Acolytes as Zangors. Same size bases, same size silhouettes. They're the same thing. So I can use them as Zangors, and they sell them 20 in a box for $5 more than 20 Zangors total. Like $5 more than 10 Zangors, I think is the trick. Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll see what they do. There's this ocean of models that exists on the market now that again, it's the Games Workshop problem. People hit a saturation point, and I think they talked about this. If a new person gets into the game, I think there's a year or 2 years. That's when that person spends on that game. They spend 2 years. I'm already past my first year. I've got a ton of one army, a good bit of another, and then a solid flex army, and then potentially another solid flex army. They're pretty lenient, depending. I imagine more like mainstream big Games Workshop mediated tournaments might be a little bit more specific about proxying. The tournament I'm going to, which is I think Rogue Trader, like I think you can get points or whatever. I don't know how this works. for the larger scale tournaments, but there's ways to like earn points and ranking, and these are one of those tournaments that you can earn that in, which is why there's a ton of very sweaty people going to it. I feel like how do I put this? I feel they said at their tournament that proxies and 3D models are completely fine. Let's get to flesh toning. Because apparently I need to mow part of a yard at my parents' house because the guy they hired to mows by the hour, and he takes a while, so he didn't get the whole yard done. Because my dad was like, yeah, you can go. Yeah, so we're doing a Rogue Trader tournament, but I know like the bigger ones are a little bit more strict. But yeah, let's get flesh toning, and then I have an idea for these mushrooms that involves fluorescent paint. We're gonna have some fun, guys. Oh yeah, that's Greg, the little guy. My assistant. Yeah, GTs are rough. I think what GTs are at most per model, it's like 30% can be printed or something, or extracurricular. But they're also very strict on kind of what you use and why to a degree. Like it's a whole thing. I actually really like this though. Light magenta into Titan pale flesh tone. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. It looks so nice. I can do pinup models now. Great. Let's start ordering frickin' what is it? Kingdoms of Death or whatever. Let's go that route. We're becoming an NSF channel. NSFW, baby, let's go. All you thirsty nerds. I need to learn to kill everything but favorite warband so far. I really do like Ephlems. I'm glad I picked Ephlems up. I've heard of a lot of really cool warbands and things that they do, but I really like how Ephlems at a core on a rivals level is a type of deck that goes, hey, what's your plan? Oh, you're gonna do that? You wanna do that plan? Are you sure you wanna do that plan? Are you really sure you wanna do that plan? Okay. Don't say I didn't warn you. Boom, I get 30 points. Like it's like that kind of thing where it's about me luring people into doing the dumb thing, right? Like I want to lure you into thinking you have a play, into thinking you have the ability to do something. I want to go second. I don't even want to go first. I'm completely fine. Yo, I have seen some STLs from the pinup side of 40K on Etsy. Oh my god. Oh my god. I saw pinup Krieg. All the girls in the gas masks with like extremely tight revealing clothing. You people are way too thirsty out there. It's crazy. I don't even understand. All right, so now we got to work within the confines. I got to turn the recording off. How many gigs are all these files I'm currently rocking in this folder? 685. Ooh, this is nice. Let me take a look. Why is this going to a 3D output? The video looks really good. That's good. Sweet. And they're all under a gig. Really good. No, yeah, I mean, if you're not planning on going anywhere. But I need to think about what we're gonna do to cut off what we've already worked on. And go with the potential of painting only the mushrooms. But yeah, this looks really cool. Because you still get the magenta in the flesh tone, so it does feel a little bit better. This is a trick I've seen many pinup painters utilize. Dude, there's gotta be one. I mean, Rule 34 exists within the Warhammer paradigm. I do not believe otherwise. I have a plan. We're not gonna do white on... We're not gonna airbrush white on the mushrooms. We're just gonna do white. I'm gonna physically put white paint onto the areas that need to be fixed. dude, frickin'. Okay, so they do. I've seen the 2 scale alluring Aldari models. I've seen that. I've seen the for the greater good Tau. Dude, people be wildin' out here. See, the thing is, you're saying more common than I'd expect. I don't think you understand how much I'd expect. I'd expect people to be there with their body pillows, just sit in the chair next to them. Like, that's where my expectation level is. Putting some pro-acryl white down. I have an idea with the hammer so that we can at least preemptively do a lot of the mushrooms and then work backwards. I expect MTG players to be there with their tablet, with their AI waifu, cheering them on, letting them know that they're good at what they do. Because AI waifu gets me. Just gonna technically, I guess, slap chop-esque the mallet a little bit to pull it back to white so we can work back in on it. I should probably record a little bit of this just to go over it. Because I do want to do the fungus on the mallet. I think that'll be good. Specifically the bottom. I think I can easily mark off the area too. I can just put a piece of paper or tape or something on the other side of it. Oh yeah, the Hatsune no Miku release. That's a pretty big get for frickin' Magic the Gathering. I mean, they got 40K. I could send one of my... For the year when I couldn't purchase a Mutalith Vortex Beast, for that whole year when I couldn't do that, what I had, every time I would look for it online, the first thing it would show me is the Mutalith Vortex Beast Magic the Gathering card, and I would feel so angry. Just Just so angry. All right, we're gonna do the bat first. Just fold this tape because I don't want it to really stick to anything. We're just going to use it as pretty much a semi-rigid paper. Feed it through here. I found out one of the other game stores I go to started a Discord locally. So now I'm in 4 local Discords for games. All right, we're gonna start it with Pyrrol Orange, I think. No. No, we want this to be light up fantastic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with Chartreuse. And then we're gonna go into fluorescent orange yellow. Orange yellow! Boom. Cowboy hats. Cowboy hats are legit though. All right, here we go. So we're gonna make his mace glow from yellow to orange. We're probably gonna do some blues and greens on these and then potentially pinks and magentas, but this is going to be a little rough to figure out. Most likely I'm going to take one of these, rip it into a part so I can slide it under the mushrooms and then roll it up or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out how to get it the whole way across here, which is crazy, and then we're gonna have to figure out how to then separate these so that I don't hit them all. This is gonna be rough, man. You found thick imp knights? Nice. Thick knights. All right, so let me click record and here we go. All right, later. What time is it? 2:44. I'm gonna put a little extra time in. I mean, we're running behind. I do plan on streaming tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll be back Monday. Hopefully I'll have a video together because I gotta do my thing tonight. I can't really do much on Discord tonight, TTS wise, if anybody's wondering. Because I do need to work on this video to edit. I would really like to get it out by next week. I'm actually surprised. The Castigator video, when I first dropped it, YouTube was like, hey, no one wants your video. And I was like, thanks, YouTube. Thanks for letting me know. And then the next day it was like, all right, it looks like some people want your video. And I was like, what? Okay. Oh, it's actually doing well now. Nice. This is the first hobby video I've dropped that people gave a shit about. Sweet. Sweet. All right. Need to make sure this is clear to a degree. And then we're gonna go in with the fluorescent orange. We're gonna do it from below, I think is gonna be the goal here. I wonder if there's gotta be underworlds, right? Oh, that is too much paint. Oh well. There's gotta be an underworlds module that's not half bad on TTS. I wouldn't mind doing underworlds games. That looks so bright for you guys. I should probably cut down. All right, so that fungus is pretty much set. All right. We gotta mask off. Perfect. Because you can kind of see where the wood is, and that's what's... I'm going to paint that brown. Like, I'm just going to paint it brown. So there's going to be like a bunch of really yellow and orange bright funguses on this, and then I'm just going to paint the actual log itself brown. So that'll look nice. I've seen a lot of info on Halo Flashpoint. A lot of people are saying it's really good. I will most likely not be picking it up because funding. You'll notice we have the Donate to the Emperor's Children Fund down there in the bottom left-hand corner, which means I'm looking to drop some serious money on something coming up. No one's donating to the fund, so even without the fund going through, I need to find ways to get access to the cash to get the stuff. Because I do actually really want this team. Okay, let's try... This is gonna be hard, man. I'll take a look at Halo Flashpoint, but like I have heard good things. I have heard people who have like tested it claiming that it's actually really good, right? Like There's gotta be an easier way to do this. Are you saying the rules are well done compared to Games Workshop, or that the ability for them to like sell it is well done compared to Games Workshop? Because this is always the thing. Like, scaling always feels weird to me. Because I know a lot of people keep pointing to like what Games Workshop does, and I hate talking about this because I feel like everyone can easily misconstrue what I'm saying as, oh, this guy wants to work for Games Workshop, blah, blah, blah. No. But, like, consider the scale of how much there is on Games Workshop's end. And there's, like, this concept of it where what I feel like we constantly seem to forget is there's so much within the line of stuff they sell that isn't selling well, but they still support it for like years to try to see if more people will pick it up. And the whole reason that's even possible is because other things sell well and they keep stuff like priced up. And I feel like they've been screwed a few too many times by trying to expand their workflow, like in terms of, oh god, dude, this is gonna be so hard. For Halo? Okay. If you want to play Underworlds with me, $90. That's all the dice, boards, everything you need. Like it's just a thing, an issue of scale. Like I don't know the comparatives. Supposedly War Machine's also really cheap this time around. Oh no, am I scrubbing paint off? I didn't want to scrub paint off. Maybe there. Yeah, you can play. You used to get the starter set for Underworlds, $90. It just depends on the mode you want to play, right? Like, definitely 40K. 40K is take a loan out tier of tabletop gaming, and that's a wild tier. Yeah, and Underworlds is a skirmish game involving cards. So if you're into the idea of applying cards into a skirmish game and randomly drawing abilities and missions, this could be for you. Maybe. It depends. Depends on what you're looking for. And that's probably really where the big thing comes in. Because if I say, oh yeah, this is a skirmish game with cards, and you're like, I don't want cards. Okay. Then there we go. You probably don't want to play this game. Dude, rip bank account at all times. Pour one out for everyone's bank account. This is so rough, man. But you have to do it this way if you don't want to screw up the already existing paint job. Where'd my rubber tip brush go? Because, yeah, man, emp children, rip bank account. All I can hope is that enough people will be interested in the content of seeing me create a hair, like a glam rock hair all-female band. So that they watch the videos and I get money back. Because that'd be nice. Dude, it's like putting a bib on a small child. Just like, let's do this. Let's try to make sure I don't hit anything I don't want to. Well, I mean, that's just the bases. But I thought someone said it's kind of like what you would think of with how like Halo multiplayer is, where it's like 6-on-6, but like, or like 5-on-5 or whatever. But that's the skirmish, and they've somehow translated the game into that, right? Like that's kind of how they decided to go about it. What color do we want this? I'm thinking his hat is gonna be fluorescent pink in the top middle. And then I'm going to take it to fluorescent purple, if I can find it. There it is, around the outer edge. My thing is, this does just feel like another, you know, trying to capitalize on something being popular situation, which works sometimes. I think, what is it? The, which game is that right now? It's the Disney Arcana game, right? That thing is apparently massive. There's like tournaments going on right now that have huge cash prizes. It's apparently a massive game. I was at a card game store and they were talking about it, like, yo, if you're into competitive gaming, Disney's Lorcana or whatever it is. I was like, what? Really? Apparently, yes. Fluorescent blue. We have purple. I think we have all my fluorescents because red does not come in an airbrushable form. What, Lorcana? I mean, you can say it sucks, but like a small store near me that hosts tournaments has like a $1,000 prize pool every tournament. And it packs the store, which is absolutely crazy. It might suck probably because it feels a little too casual, but I think that's what pulls people in outside of it being a Disney owned IP. So like Halo might work because it's Halo, but in my opinion, and like I feel like you guys are Halo fans, I also work with a Halo fan. There's a level to Halo of like rose tinted glasses where a really diehard Halo fan acts like everyone in the world is also a diehard Halo fan. So, and that's just not the case. Like when Halo Infinite came out, the amount of like, oh my God, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever from my one buddy, the guy that I work with, like, it was so hard interacting with him with the game because like every step of the way was just him trying to throw stats at me to be like, yo, this game is top tier. It's the best FPS on the market right now. And I'm like, dude, it's not even like number 4. It's like, it's barely number 4, number 5. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, dude, I get games all the time. I'm like, yeah, you can, 1,000 players will give you a game every couple hours if you're all playing at the same time. It doesn't take a lot. Halo doesn't seem to run a background MMR system that'll make your matches take forever because you're better than most of the people playing it, so... Eventually he got into ranked, and that's when he kind of discovered... Like, he got to Onyx in ranked. And, like, the queues when he was near the end of his journey to top tier in ranked. He was like, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people playing the game. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I also love games that aren't that important to people. It's kind of my thing. I've been playing Gigantic a lot ever since it came back after being shuttered 6 years ago. I played Halo. The top tier MMR. To my understanding, they made it so that the basic lobbies didn't have any for a while, because it would put like new players against really skilled players, like a lot. What, regular matchmaking? Okay, Infinite at a base level is an okay game. It's not the company necessarily. It's the fact that that game is so old in its ideology of how games are played. They tried to update it. They did. They gave you the ability to move fast by sprinting. Like, hooray, we got the sprint button. Yes. Oh, it's finally got a strict MMR mode? Because when I first started playing it, it was just like, I'd get in a game and some guy would be like cracking heads from across the map, flying around, doing crazy shit. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know why I'm in this game with this guy. And then like, I started doing that. And then it kept putting me against people who had zero game awareness. It was just like, yo, these guys, you'll be able to shoot them 6 times. Sprint, it would be bad if the maps were small. They're not all small. I hate slow games. I hate when an FPS is like, you're gonna move really slow. Have fun. You're gonna move so slow. Which further, like, this is the weirdest thing because I've had it verified with like 3 other people. On PC, the audio in Halo is god awful. You can't hear shit. Friggin' headphones on all the way up. You are not hearing footsteps. You're barely hearing the sound of a gun shooting at you. Like, it's such a weird concept to be sitting there and being like, where is everyone? And then all of a sudden you're just like meleeed from behind. You didn't even hear a single footstep coming up behind you. And you're like, all right, we are 7 tons worth of metal. Dude, you move, compared to games I play that I've loved playing. When I play an arena shooter, back in the day, it was frickin' Unreal. It was frickin' Quake. You wanna talk whether or not you move slow in Halo? In Quake and friggin' Unreal, when you're bunny hopping around at like maximum redonkulous speed, friggin' cracking people in faces with sniper rifles, going like 30 miles an hour, just dead. And then you throw me in Halo and you're like, this is really fun. And I'm just like, oh my God, go to the fight. We need to be at the fight. And it just doesn't feel good. All right, let's get the purple down. Like I play Fear. Fear was crazy. Yeah, that's what I play. Keyboard, mouse. Halo being slow was a factor of Halo being on console. It's the trick with first-person shooters. First-person shooters on console tend to try to simplify themselves and slow down and provide assistives to make up for the fact that it's on a controller. That's why you got orbital auto-aim in Halo and all that stuff. Well, technically the first iteration of Halo was when Bungie made Marathon. A lot of the lore in Marathon was moved over to Halo. It did Orbital. It did Orbital, and a lot of people liked Orbital. I think afterwards Call of Duty decided Snap 2 was better. Yeah, Half-Life 1 was Bunny Hop. Half-Life 1 was Bunny Hop. There was Quake Wars actually had Bunny Hop in it. That was an asymmetrical tactics. Oh God, I'm still recording. That was an asymmetrical tactics shooter where you had like a full team and you had to kind of like do missions and stuff. And then you were bunny hopping all over the place in that game. Cause like you had to do like the real bunny hop. I don't know how familiar you are. Cause there's the single taps, which I think is Call of Duty mostly, which Call of Duty was, or not Call of Duty. Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is when you have good forward momentum and you jump off of something. If you keep tapping as you land, you can kind of maintain momentum going forward. But in Quake, it was you had to like do a sway maneuver where you would face your camera in different directions and sway while hopping, and it created a system where you actually gained momentum going forward. Fantastic. It was, to master it was so good because you could do things in that game if you knew how to do this to go across stuff. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, but it's like on the back burner, isn't it? Because everything's going crazy over there. It might get pushed to the front. Who knows? Well, it's not canon, but the name of the frickin' armor that you use in Halo is in Marathon. Still though, my favorite move by Bungie was when they got their independence from Microsoft. I seem to have hit my wrong button. So you guys missed my rant about when Bungie left Microsoft. And they had an interview. Oh God, no, it didn't hit. Okay, good. That's just reflective. Bungie did that interview where we'll have to clear this. Where they were like, now that we're no longer at Microsoft, we know everyone views us as the Halo company. I like it. It looks so good. They were like, hey, everyone views us as the Halo company. We're going to show you guys what we can really do now that we're not being pigeonholed into only making Halo games. And then they gave us the Halo MMO. You guys remember that? Was that not the best turnaround of a company, you know, getting their independence, starting their own thing, talking some big nonsense? Oh, I loved it. It was my favorite. Dude, they made a sci-fi shooter that was slow-paced, that had shields as a big key thing that were regenerated after a little bit of time, had orbital targeting, had, like, everything. Everything about it was just like, yeah, we made Halo the MMO. Like I remember my friends were like, dude, this is gonna be so good. And then we started playing it. And the whole time I was playing it, I was like, dude, this isn't that fun. And my friends were like, no, it'll get better. It'll get better. And we were doing endgame content and they were like, I don't think this is fun. And I was like, no, it's not really that fun. we were doing friggin' the Leviathan, I think, was that first big dungeon that they dropped in the original Destiny 2 release. because we got into it at 2. We didn't do 1. But we were doing that giant Leviathan thing, and we were doing the missions, like the actual boss fights. And the boss fights were so mechanical. Like, that was all they were. Like, you barely felt like you were really shooting things. I remember there were moments where it's like, oh, it's horde mode. And it's like, yeah, but then you just save your ulti and throw your ultis and you're good. And it was just weird. It was so weird. Overwatch 1 at launch was okay. It was definitely hyped as hell. Everyone was really hyped on it. They expanded it well, so that was cool. I'm gonna have to get in here and fix things with a brush, because taping things off works, but didn't quite 100% it. What's up, Jacob? Yeah, I remember it, frickin', what was it? Where'd my tape go? Oh, here we are. Overwatch came out around the same time I started personally getting really into Gigantic. I preferred Gigantic out of all of these big, like, team-based shooters. Like, I just preferred it. I thought it was a better option. When my friend was like, no, it's cool because Overwatch, you can keep changing your characters as you're playing so that you can try to adapt your strategy. And then literally the games became, oh, you went this character, so I'm going to just go the counter after you kill me, and then you're going to go the counter after I kill you, and then I'm going to go the counter after you. Then it just became this, like, dumb thing that didn't feel right until people started kind of getting into specific team comps that even if it was a little bit weak in some areas, the strength was how they all worked together. But then that didn't really work, and then friggin' you got the 5 Mei meta, and then you had what was it? The meat wall meta, which was, I believe, Moira, and then 5 tank characters. What was it? It was like 4-2 was the meta. It was like 4 brawlers and then 2 healers or something. And like no one could really get through it, and it's like, I feel like they didn't think this through, right? Like, you have that moment where you feel like the devs, when they were putting it together, were just kind of like, this will be fun. And then when it finished, when the final bell tolled on the whole situation, they were like, oh God, what have we done? Like, it just felt like they realized that they kind of pre-established something that wasn't ever going to be balanced, wasn't ever going to feel kind of complete. The maps were gonna just be kind of like basic. Like, it just wasn't enough, but they were like, the chaos will be enough to keep people interested. As the FPS rapidly became survive until someone presses Q, and then whoever presses Q first at the right time wins. And that just got really boring. Yeah, the goat strat. Because that was the name of the team that started using it in the competitive scene, and no one was ever able to beat them. Because they would just brawl in. So there's a thing I really don't like in certain games when you start seeing kind of what you're supposed to be doing mechanically to make the game work. And a lot of the times when I would watch Overwatch competitive games, what it would look like is just a bunch of people leaping towards each other constantly. Like, you know, the bunny hop concept, where it was just like, they'd get into combat and the person would just be like, all right, I'm fighting. They would just kind of get there and be like, all right, I'm fighting you. Just like that. Why? That's just, I don't know. It feels dumb. Like, I know a lot of, I know like the Smash scene is pretty big, but I feel like almost every competitive Smash tournament I watch, it's Two people, one person runs at the other, jumps, does a neutral air, and then air dashes backwards. And then around that time, the other person does it as well. And they're trying to like find the moment to actually get in. And it's like weird because it's, I don't know, it just doesn't feel fun. That's just me though. Old man yells at clouds. I just want to get these mushrooms done before I head out. Just want to make sure we don't get any oversplash into stuff we don't want to hit. Dude, like almost any Smash game I've ever seen feels like that's the game. Just run, neutral air, air dash back, run, neutral air, air dash back. Melee got weird with combos, to my understanding. Like, people got really good at finding combos, but the footsie game is still kind of similar of fishing for an opening and then going for the opening. And if you can find the opening, that's cool. You'll get it. Let's do... How do we want to approach these? All right, we'll start with the little guy. And we'll do blue into magenta, I think. This is gonna actually kind of suck. I might be able to do it in a pseudo fast way though. Where we drip a little in. Dude, I put like 3 drops in here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, man. I gotta put fluorescence on this bad boy. I love my fluorescent paints. I love applying them to models. Because you don't expect it. So we fade it into that. We're gonna need to give it a second to dry. Definitely we're gonna need to do a lot of correctives on this. I probably could have magentaed it. No, yeah, I'm probably gonna do little touches of like mushroom texture on top of it. could probably just hold this paper in place. This is where you have to get a little ambidextrous with what you're doing. Because if I can just hold this here, we'll probably be fine. Let's go with pink, maybe? And then we'll probably flow that into, we already did purple on one. Maybe I go into orange. A little, no, let's do chartreuse on the outer edge. Time is it? 3:22, Jesus. We'll probably finish the mushrooms, or at least the airbrushing for the mushrooms. And then I'm probably going to have to get moving. We will be back tomorrow to paint. We do have the 3 other models to start getting the baseline airbrush colors done on. One is, of course, a flying bat squig thing. One's a rock and one's a cauldron. That's why I love this team. You get like one thing that's technically an animate object, 2 things that kind of aren't, but kind of are. At the same time? All right, chartreuse. I love chartreuse. It's basically highlighter yellow. Last but not least, we're gonna do centered green into, I wanna say we'll go orange. Guys, this new setup is awesome. I'm getting so much B-roll. It's perfect. I love it. You just turn around, hit the key, go. which means whenever we build things, whenever we do anything over here, I can just quickly and effectively get B-roll without needing to set up that whole side camera like we were doing back in the day. There's always plans to do more shorts. I kind of want to do a couple more skits. I do think I need to do informative shorts maybe. People seem to like informative shorts. So there is value in maybe doing like... I think there's a space... I saw a guy doing this on Insta or TikTok. I can't remember where he was at the time. I haven't seen him in a while, so hopefully everything's all right with him. There was a guy who did product reviews as like shorts, where he would just show like what it looks like on surfaces and things, right? That was his whole point, was to just be like, hey, let me show you real quick what this color looks like on a surface, so that you don't have to like look in all kinds of different places to double check whether or not it looks good. I always thought there was kind of value in like quick looks at things and products. I think I need to go back to the chartreuse and do a little bit of extra fixing. So yeah, shorts are kind of a thing, right? So jury's out, according to a lot of people, on whether shorts are massively useful for your channel or if they actually harm your channel. Because there might be an element of the algorithm that's like looking to see if people make good shorts, and if they make good shorts, it might try to push that channel to only make good shorts. Or if people come looking for your channel through shorts, the old thing was that the shorts kind of pushed people into subscribing for your channel, but then like now they don't really or something, so the metric is a little different. So you'll get like a ton of viewership and then no extra following, which makes it look bad. It's weird. It's all up in the air. YouTube, interestingly, within itself, has a machine of people that exist exclusively to tell everyone else how YouTube works, even though none of them work for YouTube. Like, it's a weird concept, right? There we go. And you can watch 10 videos on how to make your shorts algorithm works to grow your main channel or your main videos. You'll watch 20 videos talking to you about how shorts are ruining your growth. Like, it's weird. It's absolutely weird. In a lot of respect, it has a lot of similarities to when I was looking around for information on airbrushes. Because when I looked around for airbrush stuff, I started to discover that everyone had their own opinion on airbrushes, and they all differed. And if you listened closely and paid attention to what everyone was saying, you realized something. Everything they were saying was true, even though some of them were saying that other people's methods were wrong. And those people kept saying it about like everyone else, even though that all is the case of like people being like, no, don't do it this way, do it this way, because if you do it that way, this will happen and it's bad. And then the other person will be like, no, it's fine doing it this way, because if you do it this way, then these things work, and then if you do it this guy's way, it doesn't do this, and then that's bad. And you get kind of confused about it because you're like, what the hell? How does all of this happen? But that's the thing. Yeah, it's all the same. That's how it all happens. No, yeah, it's weird. The first episode of Breach Team I put out actually got massive traction in the first hour. Look at that. He looks so good. He looks so good. We do need to do a little bit of on-hand fixing in some of these areas. Get some purple down. Try to like touch stuff up. But yeah, man, check it out. Get a little B-roll of me rotating him around. Like today, my stream is doing not great. It's pretty slow. Not a lot of people in. Maybe because it's frickin' Thursday, who knows? Oh yeah, man. Bright shrooms. Vibrant. Blacklight reactive. I like it. I like where he's going. I love the base coat that we did to it. I love the flesh toning. Looks pretty good. My issue with Liquitex High Flow is it's glossy. You can kind of see some of the shimmer. The varnish, though, I apply to it usually knocks that back. So it's a problem now. It won't be a problem when it's done. So that's good. All right, well, I gotta get moving. I managed to get you guys 3 hours, even though I started way late. I gotta get moving. I gotta mow part of a yard. I gotta put more of that Underworlds video together. There's a bit of a skit in the front of it that I gotta work on. I got some of it done. Yeah, anti-shine matte varnish is what I use. I gotta clean up a little bit here. Some things I need to put away. I gotta break this airbrush down. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for talking. Thanks for, you know, just being you guys. Hopefully you can keep enjoying the channel as I put more videos out. We will, of course, continue to expand into other things. Hopefully I will have all the equipment I need on hand to record this 4v4 tournament of what is most likely going to be me getting thrashed, because yet again, haven't put a lot of reps in the big game, which means it's usually not great. You usually want to, like, you know, have a year behind you of learning, practicing, knowing. I got to look over a lot of the factions that I don't know. I got to look over their rules, because there's a lot of Tau players apparently, so I got to figure out how Tau plays, because I've yet to play a Tau player. Yeah, in current, I think, yeah, my buddy played Tau, so I played Tau all the time in old. But good. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. I forgot to turn off the recording. B-roll. I got so much B-roll. It looks so good. I love it. Till next time, guys. Later.